Warning: the following podcast may contain coarse language and is intended for Philadelphia Eagles fans. Fuck the Cowboys.
Hello and welcome to episode 4 of the Birds Like a Podcast. I am your host, Chris Baxter. This is a post-game reaction following the 33-25 win over our division rival New York Giants at Lincoln Financial Field. My initial reaction is, it was really a tale of two halves. We went into halftime with a 20-3 lead. We were looking great on both sides of the ball. And then after half-time, we had failures in all three phases of the game, and really we let them in with a sniff right at the end, and it took until the final play for the game to be decided. In positive news, though, we ended our 3-game losing streak, and it's very nice to be back winning, albeit against an opponent that is a lot lesser than the ones that we have played. The numbers showed that we were far better. We were better than them in total yards, 465 to 292. Passing yards, 295 to 186. Rushing yards, 170 to 106. First downs, we were double with 28 to their 14. Time of possession, 34 minutes and 38 seconds to 25 minutes and 22 seconds. Third down efficiency, which is a stat that we had struggled with on defense, we won that battle 53% to their 28.5%. Fourth down efficiency as well, we were 2 from 2 at 100% to their 3 from 5, which was 60%. But we lost the turnover battle once again, 2-1. And really, their turnover only came on that heave and hope at the end of the game. So for the majority of the game, once we had our second turnover, it was 2-0. Again, a real problem stat as we struggle to generate turnovers, but we also keep giving the ball up every week. They also scored 15 points off those turnovers. If you take those turnovers away and you take those points away, the game wouldn't have mattered. We would have had Mariota on the field at the end of the game. Instead, we were battling and having to constantly go down the field and score. And really, giving them that shot at the end was just so unnecessary. I mean, it would have taken a miracle, yes, but the fact is we gave them that opportunity for that miracle to happen, which frankly, in my opinion, isn't good enough. But let's take a look at the game more in depth as we look at it drive by drive. Alright, so as we look at this game drive by drive, the Eagles won the toss and deferred. So in the first drive of the first half, the New York Giants weren't able to get anything going and actually went for a 3 and out as they punted at the end of the first drive. There was a big hit and a tackle for loss by Shaq Leonard that really set up that drive. But the best part about that was after the punt, there was a huge 54-yard return by Britton Covey, showing that he's still one of the best in the NFL, and he was able to set us up in great field position as we started from the 13-yard line. On the second drive of the game, we started at the 13-yard line, which was ideal, but a great run and a decision by Hurts to give the ball to Swift rather than keep it, which led to a 1st and goal from the 1. Which, you know what's coming next, everybody knows what's coming next, and you can't stop it anyway. The brotherly shove gets it done, and Jalen Hurts, with that brotherly shove, also set a single-season rushing record for touchdowns by a quarterback with 15. Eagles take the lead 7-0. The third drive, the New York Giants took advantage of the soft cushion and used quick passing with a lot of screens to lead to multiple first downs. There was a Waller drop on third down that ended the drive, And, well, as much as I maligned Crosby and brought up his recent struggles from 50 plus, he hits a 52-yarder to get the Giants on the board on their second drive of the game. Score 7-3 Philadelphia. On the fourth drive, the Eagles had a real balanced attack and marched it down the field, and even took a bit of risk and went for it twice on fourth down and converted both. Hurts, although despite that, was almost picked off, and it would have been a pick six too. He had nothing but green grass in front of him. There was also a botched snap, but it was a crazy play by Hurts to recover the bad snap and converted the third down with Grant Calcaterra's first catch of the year. Swift also looked to have scored on a touchdown, but his knee had just grazed and it was actually called back. We did throw a pass to Goddard, which was going to take a miracle catch. It would have been a great one-hander, but he just happened to drop it. So we settled for a field goal. Philadelphia lead 10-3. On the fifth drive of the game, we forced the New York Giants to punt again. It was great swarming on the quick screens as we took that away very quickly, and one of them was a really big hit by Nolan Smith, which we really do want him to get more involved, especially coming towards the back end of the year. Being another 3 and out, it was not the ideal start for the Giants, and it was another bad punt, and Covey really switched on, ran straight up to the punt and made another nice return by hitting it at speed. Got us good field position once again. On the sixth drive, Jalen Hurts had a really nice run, which was a really good play design and a great call, and Brian Johnson deserves credit for that. After that, it was a great route, a great read, and a really great finish for a 36-yard Devontae Smith touchdown. At this point, we lead 17-3. On the seventh drive, we once again forced the New York Giants to punt. Shut down very quickly after Saquon Barkley got a first down run of 12 yards, but after that, nothing. There was really great pressure on second and third down, and on third down, we managed to get Shaq Leonard to get his first sack in Eagles colours. Covey did muff the punt, but he recovered it immediately, which, thank God, because we could ill afford that after such a good start. On the eighth drive, though, the Eagles' offense had stalled. We were forced to punt after a tackle for loss on Swift that really put us back to start the drive. And then really we just didn't get anything going. There was no rhythm. And very quick 3 and out, and we punted the ball straight back to the Giants. On the ninth drive, the Giants really took their chances here. We did actually force a 3 and out, but an offside penalty gave them a first down. Very critical. It was a good job on third down in terms of getting them to fourth down twice, but they converted both those fourth down conversions. But they got to a third fourth down, and it was third time lucky for the Birds as they got a huge tackle for loss from Hassan Reddick to finish the drive. Score is still 17-3 Philadelphia. On the 10th drive of the game, Philadelphia was forced to settle for a field goal, which Gainwell back-to-back first down catches as he started to make some plays in this game. And we seemed to move it down the field quite easily, but we got to first and goal and Hurts was sacked. And at this point it looked like we were going to settle for a field goal. And bizarrely, Hurts, rather than running out of bounds to keep the clock and give us a shot, he actually stayed in bounds, but was weirdly bailed out by an Okereke delay of game, which was very unlucky as he thought the ball was live, so he held onto the ball thinking he'd recovered it, but was actually stopping the ball from getting back to the referee, which resulted in a penalty. So we settle for a field goal. Score is 20-3 Philadelphia at halftime. Now at this point you're going, offense is scoring 20 points, defense isn't giving anything up. This is a fantastic start. But then the second half happened. On the 11th drive of the game, the New York Giants score a touchdown. Now the reason why they were able to score a touchdown on this drive is we were meant to start off with the ball, but Boston Scott and Olamide Zaccheaus collided on the kickoff, which resulted in a fumble, and the Giants recovered it. Disastrous start. Couldn't have thought of anything worse, especially having that lead and having such a good start. Tyrod Taylor, surprisingly, replaced Tommy DeVito to start the second half and played the entire second half. It was good field position for them, and it was a gap missed by Shaq Leonard that led to a Saquon Barkley touchdown. Scores now 20-10 Philadelphia. On the 12th drive of the game, Philadelphia was once again forced to punt. We did get to third and short, but then Swift was tackled for loss, and it led to a very quick 3 and out. It was a bit of a bizarre call. It looked like they were going to blitz. It looked like they had the gaps covered, but we ran the play anyway, and it didn't go anywhere. Score is still 20-10 Philadelphia. On the 13th drive, the New York Giants were again forced to punt. Tyrod had a great scramble on third down to convert it. They got to midfield, but then Taylor missed Barkley, leading to a fourth down. They looked like they were going to go for it on fourth down, and then a penalty led to them opting to punt rather than go for it. It was a bit of a controversial penalty. It looked like Jalen Carter might have jumped off sides, but they determined that he was baited into jumping off sides, which it didn't really look like it on replay. Score is still 20-10 Philadelphia. On the 14th drive, this was a bad one because we looked like we were moving the ball well. Gainwell had another first down. He was really moving the chains well when he got his touches, which he didn't have a hell of a lot of them, but when he did touch it, he made plays. There was a good balanced movement up the field between the run and the pass, and we were really spreading the ball around too with Calcaterra getting in on the play, and AJ Brown also as well. There was a penalty that moved us back 10 yards due to holding, and we also burnt a timeout. And at that point, we looked out of sync, but you didn't think that the next play was going to come. We almost were picked off on first down, and you thought, okay, we'll settle now. We'll just, try and move the chains, get some yardage, make third down a bit more manageable. And on second down, pretty much disaster. Got it slipped on his route, but he was well covered regardless, and honestly it might have been picked anyway even if he didn't slip. 72-yard Adoree Jackson pick 6. Just another boneheaded decision by Jalen. It was another Jalen brain fade. Not good. He's really got to get this out of his game because it's starting to happen every week. They went for 2 with a wildcat run to Saquon Barkley, which was good. Brought the score right back, from 20-3 at half time. It was now 20-18, Philadelphia still leading. On the 15th drive, Philadelphia finally managed to be able to get some, relief by scoring a touchdown themselves. It was a bad call on Johnson mixed with some bad plays that led to some booing as we got to 3rd and 20. But it was a great play by Hurts to buy time and hit Brown on the sideline to convert a 3rd and 20 with a 32-yard gain. There was another first down by Kenneth Gainwell as he just kept moving the chains. He was really good today in that sense. And honestly, if he's moving the chains this well, as much as he's had his problems throughout the year, we might need to start getting him the ball just a bit more, which I never thought I'd say after the fumble problems earlier in the season. A shifty Swift run where he made a couple of guys miss led to a touchdown to give us some breathing space. The score is now 27-18 Philadelphia. On the 16th drive, the New York Giants had a turnover on downs. They moved it with Barkley quite well up the field, which was a thing that I mentioned in the pregame that I thought that was going to be something they needed to do. Tyrod missed a wide open Darren Waller on 3rd down, and that might have honestly been a touchdown had he have hit him. And then incomplete on 4th down, which led to a turnover on downs. It was great coverage by Sidney Brown, which is very positive to see after his great game last week. And it was caused, he had to get the ball out very quickly because it was caused by pressure by Hassan Reddick. Score is still 27-18 Philadelphia. On the 17th drive, Philadelphia goes down and scores a field goal. Now they moved the ball to the Giants 30 with ease, but then just stalled and there was just nothing left and they kicked a pretty short field goal, but were able to move the score to 30-18 Philadelphia. On the 18th drive, the Giants just would not go away because we just simply let them hang around. 2-play drive finished with a deep shot to Darius Slayton, who got behind Blankenship, who, as the commentator said, safeties don't have safety help, so if they get behind you, it's game over. Pretty much a defensive disaster. At that point of the game, with that scoreline, it was the worst possible thing that could have happened. Score is still 30-25 in Philadelphia's favour. They still maintain the lead at this point. On the 19th drive, Philadelphia go down and kick a field goal to at least keep it at a bit of distance in terms of they couldn't go down and score a touchdown to take the lead at this point. They leaned on the run, a swift march down the field with 3 first down runs. But then 2 tackles for loss led to the drive being a bit backed up, and we simply just got a bit more yardage to make the field goal easier. Score is now 33-25 Philadelphia. On the 20th drive, which was the last drive of the game, the New York Giants didn't look like they had a lot of time or room to move, but a roughing the passer penalty plus 2 first down catches to Darren Waller gave them a shot to have one more play to try and hit something in the end zone. And then Keely Ringo got an interception as the time expired. It was the first interception of his career, and I'm sure it's one that he will not forget. Okay, now looking at the game, offensively, we put up a competitive score with 33 points, and we scored on 63% of our drives, which is much better than previous weeks. Again, a pretty balanced attack, 38 passes to 35 runs. The run game was great. We went at just under 5 yards a carry at 4.9. The passing game also improved, especially on the last couple of weeks. It went to 7.6 yards per play. Jalen Hurts was 24 of 38, 63% completion, 301 yards, 1 pass touchdown, 1 rushing touchdown, and an interception. There was another boneheaded play on the interception this week and some miscues, but this is definitely Jalen's best game in a month. And as much as it's against the Giants, their defense actually isn't as bad as people think it is. They do make plays, they do have some good players. So for him to play well, I still rate it as a good performance by him. Kenny Gainwell made plays nearly every time he touched it. You know, he has made plays before. He's also had some boneheaded things that have happened this year. He did also fumble, but it managed to go out of bounds, which was very lucky. But he was very good when he got the ball in his hands today, and it's a positive sign coming towards the end of the year. The run game worked well. How about we keep doing it? That might be a good idea. I think it's our identity. I think it's our team. It's how our offense works. Keep running the ball. Keep doing it. The receivers did get involved, albeit without anyone really dominating, but it was a good spread of the ball. We saw some plays by Brown, some plays by Smith. Goddard looked like he had his best game since coming back. We did see Calcaterra make his first 2 catches of the year. There were some things happening, and as long as we're building towards something, that's the main thing. And although the second half was a bit dysfunctional, all in all, I think it was mostly a good offensive performance. Could it have been better? Yes, but I don't think we're going to be too disappointed with performances like that. Defensively, I thought the first half was fantastic, keeping them to 3 points. We produced 2 turnovers on downs. Our third down efficiency was much improved at 28.5%, which is fantastic. They had 186 yards passing at 50% and 5.6 yards per attempt, which again, fantastic. We kept them to 106 rushing yards at 4.1 yards per carry. This also is quite fantastic considering that their run game is their bread and butter. The downside, we only got 1 sack for the game, which was Shaq Leonard, which was great to see Shaq Leonard get the sack, but this is a team that gives up the most sacks in the league, and we couldn't get there. We've got to be better than that as far as the defensive line goes. We only produced a turnover right at the end of the game as well. I don't know what it is, whether we're just not punching the ball out, we're not getting on top of routes. Is there a bit of luck involved? I don't know, but this team is just not getting turnovers lately, and we're losing those turnover battles, and it's becoming, it's putting us in situations in games where we're letting teams in and we're also letting teams get away. And I think this defense was a bit unfairly criticised after the game for the scoreline, especially given that the offense gave up 8 of those points with the pick 6, and the Boston Scott fumble put them in terrible field position to start the second half. Mainly, though, we've got to stop shooting ourselves in the foot, because this really should have been a cruising and comfortable win. The numbers show that it should have been, and that we show that we dominated the game. But the only stat that matters is the scoreboard, and we let that be a lot closer than it really needed to be. And we gave them that shot right up until those final seconds. We've purely got to be better, really. I mean, especially against a team like that, we really should have, when we were 23 up, we should have been putting that game away. We need to be better in these next few weeks. Alright, now for the player of the week. I'm looking at Shaquille Leonard. 5 solo tackles, 2 assists, 1 sack, 1 quarterback hit, and 2 tackles for loss. It was really great to see him step up with Zach Cunningham especially being out, and he really looked like the player we know he can be and trying to get back to that all-pro caliber level. Alright, now let's take a look at the division standings. The Eagles have retaken the lead in the NFC East at 11-4 following the Cowboys' loss to the Dolphins and obviously the Eagles getting the win over the Giants. The Giants are now slipped to 5-10 and were eliminated from the playoff race earlier in the week, although it was a formality at that point. Washington now sit at 4-11 following another loss. Alright, going around the rest of the NFC. In the North, Detroit are level with Philly and the Niners at 11-4. And with Dallas next week, there's a huge chance that they can make a push for the number 1 seed should the Niners slip up. Or they could possibly slide to 3rd. But to their credit, they have secured their first ever NFC North Division win. The Vikings and Packers are very much still in the playoff race at 7-8 in that division as well. In the South, Tampa currently leads the lowly NFC South at 8-7. With the Saints and Falcons chasing at 7-8, with both of them still very much in the playoff hunt as well. In the West, San Francisco is still the number 1 seed despite the loss to the Ravens, but needing to now win out their last 2 games to secure it. The Rams and Seahawks both currently are in line to make the playoffs as wildcards. Now over to the AFC. In the East, Miami is still the number 1 seed at 11-4, and the Bills are very much in the playoff hunt at 9-6, and they are also playing very well as of late. In the North, Baltimore is still the number 1 seed at 12-3 after a very impressive win over San Francisco. The Browns are very close to securing a playoff berth, with the Bengals and Steelers both still in contention for a wild card. In the South, it is still a 3-way tie. After being a 3-way tie last week, all the teams lost and are still in a 3-way tie, with Jacksonville leading Indy and Houston in the tiebreaker at 8-7. Something has to give there in the next 2 weeks, and it will be very entertaining to watch and see how that division ends up. In the West, Kansas City is still very much in control at 9-6. It would take a drastic turn as the Raiders and Broncos are 2 games behind them with 2 games left. Alright, now time for fly up, fly down. Fly up. Kenneth Gainwell. He only had 9 touches of the ball in this game, but for 79 yards, 4 of which were first down plays. He was very big in being able to turn momentum in this game. Fantastic game, and if he wants to play like that more, get him the ball more. Fly down. Boston Scott. He had 1 carry for 3 yards, and normally is the giant killer, but his fumble was extremely costly and brought them right back into the game. Definitely not what you expect from Boston Scott in an Eagles-Giants game. Fly up. Shaq Leonard. He looked every bit the all-pro caliber player that we signed. He was fantastic at disrupting plays in the backfield. He made big stops. We need him to be that player going forward, and it was really positive to see him play that caliber of game very quickly. Fly down. This defensive line. 1 sack against the most sacked team in the league is flat out unacceptable. I don't know what's with this D-line. I don't know what's gone wrong, but we are just getting found out far too easily. We're getting blocked too easily. Well, maybe our coverage isn't quite as good and it's not helping them, but we need to be able to get in the backfield. 1 sack is not going to win us games against better teams. Fly up. Keely Ringo. He had tight coverage all day, made some good plays there, and also got his first interception, which was the game-ending interception. What a great moment for him, and a big game for him to build upon going into the back end of the year. And lastly, fly down. Reed Blankenship. He had a brain fade with some bad game sense and gave the Giants a chance with that last deep touchdown to Darius Slayton. He's been better than that before, but he needs to be better in those big moments. Alright, now time for something that I am very good at. Having a rant. It's the rant of the week. There's a lot of chatter about how we're frauds and how we're lucky with our schedule to finish the year. But I say, hang on. Are Dallas also frauds? They play almost the same schedule. The difference is, they had their tough run to finish the season, whereas ours was in the middle. What's the difference? Both teams beat each other. Both teams lost to the Niners. The Eagles lost to the Jets and the Seahawks. The Cowboys lost to the Cardinals, Bills and Dolphins. Now, you could say the Cowboys beat the Jets and Seahawks, but the Eagles play the Cardinals this week, but they also beat the Bills and Dolphins. Detroit, they lost to the Seahawks. They lost to the Ravens, they lost to the Packers, and they lost to the Bears. I'll give you the Niners, though. They're a very impressive outfit and will be tough to beat. And their 3-game skid came when they had crucial players out, so it's a bit hard to judge, and their only bad loss really has come when they got smoked by the other best team in the league in Baltimore. My argument is, if you're going to call the Eagles frauds, you have to call Dallas and Detroit frauds as well. Alright, that is it for episode 4. I really hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe on all platforms. And from me, Merry Christmas to you all. Let's get a break. Go Birds on 3. 1, 2, 3, go Birds!